I still remember my first adult dating experience. I picked up this girl and we had a curfew, and I came home, had my 1984 Sigma, and we pulled up out the front of her house with about 10 minutes to spare. And I'm planning how the end of the date's going. At this point, I'm believing that you've got to get physical. You've got to get to first base on the first night. And so I'm planning out how my date is going to end. And we go for the goodbye hug. And I'm a little bit keen. And I go in for the kiss. And she turns her cheek and I sort of bounce off because I went in pretty aggressively. And and I just remember feeling really awkward, really embarrassed. And she was great. She was lovely. She's like, oh, I'm really sorry. And she's apologising and telling me how she wished she hadn't have, turned away. And in my head, I'm a bit confused, but still pretty keen. And so I'm thinking, so if she didn't want to turn away, then maybe she is realising she wanted a kiss. So, curfew time comes, we go in for the goodbye hug. I go in for the kiss aggressively again, and I bounce off the same cheek. And at that point, I realise, oh, hold on a second. She's not sorry that she turned away. She's sorry that she doesn't want to reciprocate my physical advance. And hey, look, we actually ended up dating, and relationships are always marked with interesting and challenging and embarrassing stories. It's part of life. Life is messy. It's not perfect. Wrap up with these, but I want to leave you with 10 relationship tips. 10 tips that I wish I knew when I was younger, and 10 things that I think are keys to healthy relationships and dating. Are you ready? First one, paint a target. Paint a target. It's pretty hard to hit a target that you don't see. Time and time again, the research shows that people who set goals are better at achieving those goals. Have you ever thought about what you want in a relationship? What you want in a future spouse? My wife did. She wrote a list of 10 things her future husband might have. I think I got one. No, I didn't. She tells me that I got 10 or pretty close. And I'm not talking about superficial things here. I'm not talking about blue eyes and big calf muscles, all right? I'm talking about the reason why people are laughing, for anyone watching, I was born with abnormally large calf muscles, and I'm sure that wasn't on my wife's list, that's for sure. But I'm talking about things like, do they make me laugh? Do they encourage my gifts? Do they share the same beliefs as me, the same faith? Are they family-oriented? These are the kind of things you might want to think about and plan for, so you don't just stumble into something that doesn't represent who you truly are. Love making. Number 4, go slow. If you're anything like me, this is really, really tough. Really, really tough. I always wanted to progress quickly in relationships. I desired it physically. I desired it emotionally. Man, I just wanted to speed things up. And yet, I've never met a healthy relationship, a healthy married relationship or a long-term relationship where the couple have said to me, I wish we'd gone quicker. In all my years of talking to people, interacting, I've never met one couple that has said, I wish we'd actually moved a little bit quicker. Wow. There is no harm in slowing down. A clear head. Sexual compatibility is nowhere near as important as relational compatibility. Think of someone who's been married for 45 years. Do you think it's the sexual compatibility that is keeping them together? Probably not. Relational compatibility is key. Sex alone is never going to keep a relationship together, despite the fact that when we're single, we so often think that sex is all we're going to do as married couples. I used to think 8 hours for work, 8 hours for sleep, 8 hours for sex. That's how it's going to be. But the truth is that less than 1% of what you actually do as a married couple will be sex. Okay? And so, yes, it is important. I hate hearing it. It's common, and I used to say it. You need to try before you buy. Getting married to someone that you haven't slept with is like buying a car without a test drive. That's what people say. And I just think, that is a silly analogy. Firstly, when you buy a car, all you're going to do in that car is drive. Well, maybe not all, but close to everything you do in that car will be drive. Okay? Close to everything you do. So the analogy falls down with marriage, where less than 1% of your time is spent having sex. A better analogy, or a more appropriate analogy, would be if you're going to base your future spouse on the sex, that would be like sitting in the front seat of a new car and buying a car based on the experience of what it feels like to sit in the front seat. Blindfolded, don't look at the paint job, don't look under the hood, don't even turn the key. Just base it all on the feeling of what the front seat feels like. That's a better analogy for someone who thinks that sex is the deciding factor in getting married. I'm not saying sex is not important. Sex is beautiful, and it's an awesome journey for a couple to go on to discover the other person and to learn to please the other person and to have fun with the other person and explore the fruits of their garden. Like, this is good stuff. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's certainly not the be-all and end-all about a relationship. For those of you, modesty protects the mystery of the person. Dress in a way that says my beauty is deeper than just my body. I love the story, and some of you will have heard this story. It's a story about Muhammad Ali, the boxing world champ, an amazing athlete and a culture changer in how he operated. And his daughter recounts the story about coming home one night, and she is dressed in clothes that her dad thought was a little bit too revealing. And Muhammad Ali said this, "Hannah, everything that God made valuable in the world is covered and hard to get to. Where do you find diamonds? Deep down in the ground, covered and protected. Where do you find pearls? Deep down at the bottom of the ocean, covered up and protected in a beautiful shell. Where do you find gold? Way down in the mine, covered over with layers and layers of rock. You've got to work hard to get them." He looked at me, she recounts, with serious eyes and said, "Your body is sacred. You're far more precious than diamonds and pearls, and you should be covered too." Ain't that the truth? Leave something for your future partner to discover. Leave something as a gift. It is a gift. What a beautiful, vulnerable gift. The intimacy we experience is not just about orgasmic pleasure. It's about physical and emotional intimacy that gets so much deeper than just the genitals. All right. Number 9, if it ain't right, take flight. If it ain't right, take flight. Break up if it's not right. This is a really tough one. If there was the biggest mistake that I've seen in relationships in young people is people lacking the courage to end a relationship. If it's not right, don't be afraid to leave. It's hard, brutal. I've done it. Some of you will have done it. It can hurt both people. But you know what? There can be something special on the other side of that breakup that is great for you. So if you realise it's not right, don't keep going back to that relationship. Don't stay in it because it's easier. If it ain't right, take flight. Your potentially future husband or wife will thank you for having that courage and the strength, and I promise it'll be worth it. If it's not right, you don't want to be there. You're missing the awesomeness of being single and perhaps missing the result of a future relationship that you otherwise may not have experienced. And so please be encouraged no matter how hard that is. And number 10, get to know yourself. Get to know yourself. Travel. Have fun. Go on mission trips. Like, single life is such an opportunity to grow as a human being. I talked about my wife and I being apart for, not when we were married, but when we were dating for 2.5 years. I went away for a year on a trip. We read books, we journeyed, we spoke with mentors and counsellors, and we grew. And I thank God for that time. I didn't think it was a special time. I don't think it was right. But I look back and go, wow, we wouldn't have the marriage we have now had we not had that single time. And we could have dated. We could have gone into other relationships. But hey, don't miss the opportunity that single life brings you in journeying as a person, but also in just living life, enjoying the freedom that comes with being a single person and the adventure that is. So don't miss that one.